Welcome back to Binge Guide, the next show. I'm Andrew, and with me today is Victoria. We're diving into Borderline, this new movie coming out. Have you heard about this one yet?
Hi, everyone. Yes, Borderline. It's been generating a lot of buzz.
Yeah.
And for good reason, I think.
Yeah. For folks who haven't heard about it yet, well, first of all, you're in the right place to learn about it. This movie is from the writer of Cocaine Bear,
Yeah.
Jimmy Warden. He's back. But this time he is not only writing it, but directing as well.
That's right. First time in the director's chair for him. I always find it so interesting to see a writer make that jump. You
Right.
know, they suddenly have control over the entire vision, not just the script.
Yeah, totally. And Borderline definitely looks like it has a very specific style.
Very visual, yeah. Like the trailer has this strong 90s LA vibe. You know, that kind of grungy but glamorous aesthetic.
Oh, for sure. Like I get a little bit of a Pulp Fiction vibe, maybe.
Yeah, a little bit. So, okay, let's talk premise. Imagine you're a pop star, huge in the 90s, and suddenly you're taken hostage by let's say a very dedicated fan.
Dedicated is a good word for it, I guess.
Yeah, obsessed might be more accurate. Like, this fan, his name is Dewson, he's completely convinced that he and this pop star, Sophia, are destined to get married.
Yeah, and that's where things get really interesting.
Totally. And playing Dewson is Ray Nicholson, Jack Nicholson's son, And he looks terrifying in the trailer. Like, just a completely unsettling performance.
You know who else is great in this? Samara Weaving. She plays Sophia, the pop star.
Oh, Samara Weaving is fantastic. She's really made a name for herself in the horror thriller world, like Ready or Not and The Babysitter.
Yeah, and those movies, like, they have a similar kind of energy to what we're seeing in the Borderline trailer,
Definitely. That blend of tension and dark humor, it's a tough balance to get right, but when it works, it really works.
Totally. And this hostage situation, I don't know about you, but I'm getting some major Misery vibes,
Yes, totally. That feeling of being trapped, isolated with someone who's, a little unhinged.
Exactly. And with Borderline, you have that extra layer of this guy being a stalker, fixated on this woman. Like, that adds this whole other level of creepiness.
Oh, absolutely. And then there's the title itself, Borderline. It's actually a reference to a song.
Madonna.
Well, yeah, there's the Madonna song, but the director, Jimmy Warden, he's said that he was more inspired by the Flaming Lips cover of that song.
Interesting. Okay, so I'm curious then, like, what is it about the Flaming Lips version that spoke to him? Maybe their sound influenced the movie's mood or something.
Right, or maybe he found, like, a darker, more twisted meaning in the lyrics from that male perspective.
Yeah, because think about it. A song about obsession and boundaries, it definitely fits the theme of the movie.
Oh, completely. And that's what's got me hooked on Borderline. It's more than just a thriller. It's playing with these deeper ideas about fame, obsession, the 90s.
It's like, is this movie going to be a straight-up thriller, a dark comedy, some kind of hybrid we don't really know yet, and that's exciting.
Yeah, exactly. It's keeping us guessing. And then there's that final shot Ray Nicholson keeps mentioning. He says it'll leave people talking.
Yeah, I read that, but he won't give anything away, which is smart. It's got everyone theorizing.
Totally. And I think that's a great sign, a movie that makes you think even before you've seen it. Like, that's how you know it's got something special.
For sure. Oh, and one more thing. Did you know Margot Robbie is a producer on this?
Oh, yeah, through her production company, Lucky Chap. They're behind some really cool, edgy stuff.
Right, like Promising Young Woman and I, Tanya.
So that makes me even more curious to see how Borderline turns out.
Me too. They always choose such interesting projects.
So we've got this unique premise, a talented cast, a director with a vision, and a mysterious ending that everyone's buzzing about.
I think it's safe to say that Borderline has our attention.
For sure. And hopefully you'll have yours too after this deep dive. We've only scratched the surface here. We've got a lot more to unpack, so stay tuned as we keep digging into Borderline right here on Binge Guide, the next show.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Binge Guide, the next show. Okay, so we're talking Borderline, and one thing we have to talk about is, like, how this film is dealing with a really sensitive topic. Yeah, I mean, the whole stalker premise, it could be really triggering for some people.
Yeah, I mean, even with the hints of comedy in the trailer, it's got to be a tough balance to strike. You don't want to make light of stalking, especially considering how, like, real and scary it is for so many people.
Exactly. It's a big responsibility for the filmmakers. They have this platform, and how they portray these kinds of issues matters a lot.
Totally.
Yeah.
I'm really curious to see how they handle Sophia's character. Like, will she just be a victim, Or will she be strong and resilient in this crazy situation?
Right, we need to see her fighting back, like mentally and emotionally. It would be such a letdown if she was just like a helpless damsel in distress.
Yeah, and that's where that bodyguard character comes in, the one Eric Dane plays. It seems like he's going to be pretty important in the story, kind of standing between Sophia and her stalker.
How interesting. You know, that reminds me of all those classic 90s movies where the bodyguard was more than just a protector, you know?
Like Kevin Costner in The Bodyguard.
Exactly. It was about the relationship, the trust between the bodyguard and the star. So I'm hoping Borderline kind of taps into that dynamic too.
Yeah, like what if this bodyguard has his own issues, his own past trauma he's dealing with while trying to protect Sophia?
Oh, I love that. It would add so much depth to his character, make him way more relatable.
Right, like imagine he's dealing with his own vulnerabilities while trying to keep her safe. It adds this whole other layer to the story.
Totally. And it could even like touch on the pressures of fame and the people who are always around celebrities, you know?
Yeah, that's a great point. We haven't even talked about the potential for social commentary, which I always appreciate in a film.
Oh, yeah, for sure. This whole premise, it's like tapping into those anxieties we have about privacy, celebrity culture, and those kind of unhealthy relationships fans can develop with stars.
It's so relevant, especially now when social media makes everything so blurry, you know?
Yeah.
The line between personal and public is just gone.
Totally. What if they show, like, how Dewerson, the stalker, uses social media to fuel his obsession with Sophia?
Or maybe the opposite. What if they show how Sophia uses it to connect with fans, but also how that can be risky, even dangerous?
Oh, interesting. It's like using those elements to show how the 90s and today aren't that different after all.
Right. Like it's a commentary on how technology connects us, but also makes us vulnerable.
It's like Borderline could be a cautionary tale wrapped in a thriller, you know?
Yeah, but we also can't forget it's being marketed as a comedy. So I gotta ask, how are they gonna make this funny?
Right. It's a real balancing act. The humor can't diminish the seriousness of stalking.
I mean, think about Jordan Peele, right?
Yeah.
He uses humor in Get Out, but it never makes light of the situation. It actually makes it more powerful.
That's a perfect example. And I have a feeling, you know, the guy who wrote Cocaine Bear, he might just be able to find that balance.
Yeah, that would be amazing. A film that makes you laugh and then like gasp in suspense the next minute. A real roller coaster.
I think the real test will be whether the humor feels natural, you know, not forced or out of place.
Totally. But even if the comedy doesn't quite work, there's still so much to be excited about. Like Samara Weaving is in it. That's enough for me.
I know. She's proven she can handle these intense roles. And the director, Jimmy Warden, seems like he's going for something really visually unique.
Maybe Borderline will be like a surprise hit, you know?
Maybe it'll be one of those films people are still talking about years from now.
Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see how it all comes together.
Yeah, we will. But even just talking about it now, I can tell Borderline is already pushing boundaries and doing something different.
And that's what we love to see.
Exactly. So we've talked about like the dangers of the premise, the bodyguard character, and the potential for some sharp social commentary.
But let's not forget that ending. The thing that has everyone buzzing.
We need to unpack that mystery. So stick around as we head into the final part of our Borderline deep dive here on Binge Guide, the next show.
Welcome back to Binge Guide, the next show. All right, so we spent this whole episode talking about Borderline, and now it's time to talk about the ending.
Yes. That mysterious ending. Ray Nicholson has said it will leave people talking, but he won't say anything more about it. It's driving everyone crazy.
It's like the biggest question mark hanging over this entire film. Like, what could it be? What could possibly be so shocking or so weird that it becomes the thing everyone talks about?
Right. And considering everything we know about this movie, the thriller aspects, the dark comedy, the 90s setting, it could really go in a lot of different directions.
Oh, totally. Okay, so let's put on our speculation hats here. What are some possibilities? What are you thinking?
Well, they could go for like a classic twist ending. You know, some big reveal that changes everything we thought we knew.
Like a Shyamalan twist? Like The Sixth Sense, where you suddenly see the whole movie in a new light?
Yeah, exactly. Or like imagine the ending reveals that Sophia has actually been the mastermind all along. Or maybe Dewerson isn't real at all. He's just a figment of her imagination.
Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, so a twist ending is definitely on the table. But I also feel like Borderline is playing with a different kind of ambiguity, something more psychological, you know?
Yeah, I see what you mean. Like, what if the ending isn't so much a plot twist, but more like descent into Duerson's mind.
Exactly. We're never quite sure what's real and what's not with him, and that could carry through to the very end. Like, imagine the ending leaves us wondering, did Sophia actually escape? Or is she still trapped in this messed up situation?
Ooh, that would be so creepy. And it totally fits with that misery vibe we talked about. Remember how unsettling Annie Wilkes was? You never knew what she was going to do next.
Yeah, exactly. That feeling of constant tension and uncertainty. And if Borderline can capture that, then the ending will be really effective, even if it's not a huge explosive reveal.
It's like the ending could be a puzzle in itself, you know? Something that stays with you long after the movie's over and makes you want to go back and look for clues.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
An ending that makes you think, makes you talk about it with your friends. Because honestly, those are the best kinds of movies, the ones that spark conversation that don't give you all the answers.
I totally agree. And you know what? Even if the ending doesn't live up to the hype, or if the comedy doesn't quite work, I'm still excited to see Borderline.
Oh, me too, for sure. I mean, Samara Weaving alone makes it worth watching.
Yeah, she's amazing. And Jimmy Warden seems like a director with a vision, you know? Like he's trying to do something different, something interesting.
Totally. So, to all of you listening, here's what we want you to do. Go see Borderline, check it out for yourselves, and then come back here and let us know what you thought.
Did it blow you away? Was it a total flop? What did you think of that ending? We really want to hear your thoughts.
Because ultimately, that's what we're all about here at Binge Guide, the next show. We're not just telling you what to watch, we're starting a conversation.
We want to help you find your next obsession, your next movie to binge.
So, until next time, happy watching, everyone. And remember, the Bat movies are the ones that stay with you.